Hi, my name is Thomas with Bones Realty, and today we're going to give you a behind the scene look at exactly the spreadsheet we use in step one of our foreclosure process to start working our repeatable system to come up with homes that meet our criteria and that we can flip consistently to get the return for you, the investor, and for us to reinvest in Bones so that we can scale the business and bring more profits for everybody. So, a lot of people talk about, hey, 2021, are we going to have a market recession like 2008? To be honest with you, we're not too concerned about that because whether or not the market is hot or extremely cold, this same process works again and again and again. Think of it like a machine that every time you put in $1, two pop out, three pop out, $1.50, whatever it is. But just know the only thing missing from that equation is the fuel, which is the capital in order to buy these homes. And that's exactly what we're trying to do in making these videos and giving you a behind the scene look. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. I said this was step one. This is actually step two. Step one, we actually buy our foreclosure list. And so then we plug it into this foreclosure spreadsheet, and you'll see we are looking at the auction that's going to happen on January 5th, 2021. That is tomorrow, which is why we uploaded the video today to prove that all of this work was done beforehand. And then we're going to prove our results tomorrow when I actually go out and film the auction. We're looking at one home in particular, 1192 Ridgeside Drive Northwest in Ackworth. But in future videos, you're going to see that exact process. But here's where everything starts. So on the left-hand side, you'll see a column that says addresses. And then we want to take a look at the opening bid price. And then we go to Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com to find the estimated resale price. So you're going to go ahead and see the different colors here. And what we do is we have a sweet spot. So our sweet spot is homes between $200,000 and $300,000. We do work within a standard deviation of that number, which is where you see the yellow numbers. But numbers that you see in white are homes we wouldn't typically work with, although they don't totally turn us off of the home if they meet the rest of our criteria. But we just want to know which homes are in our sweet spot so that we can deliver the best returns possible. The next column, you're going to see a difference between what the opening bid is and then the resale estimate. And then this next column, which is probably the most important for us in step one, we want to look at the estimated equity percentage. So here you'll see all three colors we use. We have red, green, and yellow, and they mean exactly like a traffic light does. Green means go, yellow, proceed with caution, or red is a full stop. So here what we're looking for is typically you want to see at least 30% return on some of these just based on the opening bid and the estimated resale. Anything that drops below that 30% line, you'll see marked in red. But then we also have to be aware that homes that have a return of over 150%, that there might be something going on with the title of that home. And that's something that just comes from experience and working a bunch of these homes all the way through just to find out in title review that something suspicious is going on. So although the yellow does not disqualify us from looking at homes, it is just something we keep our eye on. For example, if you look at 386 Silverton Drive in Marietta, you'll see that this home would have a return of over 1,200%. Again, not a disqualifier because there are home runs like this that exist, but very often they don't actually have that much return if there's a clean title that we'd be interested in purchasing. So then we have our best source, and this is just where we find out the information from the home. So we have a link to actually go back to check our facts on resale. And then in column G, you'll see the number of green cells. The reason we do this is, like we talked about at the beginning, we have a repeatable system. But as we go on through this process, which you will see, we want to be able to rank these homes based on, okay, what are the most attractive homes? Because before we had this system, we would get to the end and say, hey, there are 6 homes that meet our criteria. Said, okay, well, which homes best fit our criteria? And that's when we started introducing the number of green cells concept. So in the next step, which is the basic loan information and the building requirements we have for homes, you'll see that these homes are now sorted by their number of green cells in step 1. So moving on, we're going to look at the mortgage type. And the kind of mortgages, I'll just open one of these up to show you. The type of mortgages that we really want to bid on are either FHA, VA, conventional loans, anything over 10-year. We're also not against ARM mortgages, but again, those tend to be a little bit riskier in title review. The ones we want to stay away from, or at least proceed with extreme caution, would be any home on a mortgage of under 10 years. That's because typically we see those as, just like we said with some of the other loans, oftentimes when we find a home that has a loan of less than 10 years, we take it to title review and they tend to be a little bit wonky. That doesn't stop us from looking at the homes, but just something to allow us to know, yellow light, proceed with caution. From there, we look at the year built. So we always want to buy homes that are 1979 and above. Let me just be sure I'm saying that right, because that's my construction manager's expertise. Yep. And let's see, if we were to put 1978. All right, so that's the cutoff, and the reason for that cutoff is the electrical in homes 1979 and beyond are all grounded, which the only thing that's relevant for this is they're a lot easier to do repairs on. If you have a home that's earlier than that, a lot more goes into the electrical requirements when you're looking to renovate a home. From there, we look at square feet. Again, we want that wheelhouse to be right within 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. But then we do, with one standard deviation, still look at those homes that are in the yellow. From there, we want to look at beds. What we want, I mean, it's pretty easy to get green here. What we want is 3 or more beds. Again, it's not a turnoff if they don't have that, because if you have the square footage, so say you have 2,000 square feet, but you only have 2 bedrooms, that means that there's a space that is not being counted as a bedroom that would be easy to renovate. So beds is not as much a concern. The same goes for baths, although baths are quite a bit harder because you do have to install the plumbing, and that is a significant expense when you're looking at renovation costs, because the homes that sell fastest are 3-2s, meaning 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. So you won't see us trying to flip any homes with less than those numbers. The next column, we just do a subjective look. So you could pass through all of our requirements, and then as you see, the very first one with Texan says a condo. Well, we only want single family homes that are detached. So different reasons. This is, again, exactly like it says, subjective. So you'll see here there's a 1-year loan, and that came up as other under mortgage type because we don't always have that clarity. But in the beginning, we just try to discard homes as quickly as possible so that we're only working with the cream of the crop homes that are right in our sweet spot. And then the simple question, does it meet criteria? So we look back, is there anything in red? If there's anything before 1979, we won't touch it. If the square footage is either way too big or way too small, we're not going to touch that, just because if a home's way too small, it'll be less desirable for a home buyer. And if it's too big, the renovation cost just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense in most cases. So again, you'll see the number of green cells here in column O, and that's just how we rank how much we like these homes. And you'll see them sorted by that in step 3. So here's where we look at the drive-by criteria. Although I've done the drive-by, I haven't filled this out. Here, a big thing we look at this stage in our company, we want all homes that we buy to be unoccupied. And the reason for that is many investors will buy occupied homes, but what we found based on interviewing some other flippers that we respect is that tenants tend to be a bottleneck on the system. So what would end up happening if you had a tenant, you would then have to start the eviction process with them. And then from there, that can be drawn out. So that's months sitting on a mortgage without any kind of return. We typically like to turn homes in less than 3 months. The other thing you get is when these tenants move out, they oftentimes will destroy the property, or at least diminish the condition on move out. So those are all hard things to predict. We try to stay away from those because, again, what we focus on is a repeatable system. A couple of the other things we look at in the drive-by criteria, which, again, I've not done a great job of noting here. I've taken them personally in my journal, but I've not transferred them here on the video. So we want to know if the property is on 1+ acre of land. Again, it's not a total turnoff, but what we find is that homeowners typically don't want to have the responsibility of that much land in the areas we're looking at. That's not true for all areas of the U.S., but in the suburban areas we're looking at, in the metro areas we're looking at, people don't typically want 1+ acres of land to sit on. We also want to look at steep elevation. The reason for that is steep elevation ends up oftentimes with water damage, which, as you know, if you've done anything with even your own home or renovated a home, water damage is some of the most expensive to rectify. It will destroy everything. Then we look at more CapEx stuff, so capital expenditures. These are big ticket items like, does the roof need to be replaced? Does the driveway need to be replaced? Or the HVAC unit? We don't touch homes that have been ransacked, meaning homes that have had the HVAC stolen or copper wiring taken out, because that's indicative of a high crime area. And if we're trying to show a house, if we've already done all the renovations, and say during a showing we show up and there's no HVAC unit, it's just not a risk we're willing to take. So we're very conservative in terms of how we look at these homes. Look at the overall structural condition. That's important because sometimes you could pass all this criteria and look at the home and say, hey, listen, I just know that's in terrible condition, and I'm not an expert, but looking, you can just tell the foundation is off. So that's kind of where we address that problem. You always want to look at your drive-by notes. So if you look here, there are a few houses that met our criteria, and I just wrote whether or not the homes were occupied. So we want to look at these homes that are unoccupied. And again, we've worked all this out, but what you're going to see in the future videos going through our criteria step by step is the home that's most appealing to us in this cycle in January 2021 in Cobb County is this 1192 Ridgeside Drive Northwest in Ackworth. You're going to see our videos coming out after this all centered around that home. So we're going to take you from exactly where you see here, so taking it through all of our different criteria, through the drive-by where we take a look at the home, go up and take a video of the home, to sending it off to our contractor or our construction manager. He then comes up with the cost estimate for the renovation, gives us the exact numbers, and then we're going to take it all the way to a final bid price, and we're going to actually record for you the actual auction where we see 1192 Ridgeside Drive Northwest in Ackworth being sold. From there, we'll follow up with the house until it's resold by somebody else to show that we do have a repeatable system, that our processes in place do work, that there is a significant profit margin that can be made here, and there's enough money to go around for both you, the investor, and us, Bones Realty, in order to grow our operation. So thank you for watching, and watch our next video, which is going to have to do with the drive-by of 1192 Ridgeside Drive.